All right, guys, welcome to the Creator Corner podcast, episode 18. And today we're not just joined by anyone, we are joined by my mentor and my friend, the guy who taught me everything I need to know about high ticket closing and financial freedom. He is the founder of Freedom Closer Academy, where he helps Gen Z lock in financial freedom and escape the 9 to 5. And he's built a movement with young freedom closers, ditch the 95 part and start building real income real freaking fast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Bridger Rodgers to the podcast. Welcome to the podcast, bro. How's it
Th-
going?
Thank you, Sid. Thank you, Shrey, for having me on. I'm excited to, excited to connect with you guys.
No, of
100%.
course. We're looking forward to this, and I'm so glad to have you on as well because I've heard a lot of good things about you, and that's exactly what this podcast is for. We're gonna dive deeper into that, Pedro. All right, so let's
So,
kick it off. Yeah, so let's kick it off. So, Bridger, I heard you were bagging groceries when you were 19, right? Like before the Freedom Closer Academy started, before you started coaching other people, you got to take us all the way back. Let's take it before the coaching, before the sales call. Who is Bridger Rodgers? Tell us that.
Who is Bridger Rodgers? What a great question. What a great question. So, at at my core, okay, I am a first and foremost son of the Most High God. I'm a son of God. All right, I'm not the son. That would be Jesus himself. But I am a son of God. That's the first place that I go to when people ask me who I am, what's my identity? It's rooted in Christ. I build my life upon the rock, which is Jesus. That's number one. Number two, I think God has gifted me with a couple unique abilities that I have really ran with in my life, in my career with sales that's allowed me to create some of the success that you mentioned earlier. And I would say at my core, number one is I love people. I love people. I'm super extroverted. I can spend 10, 15 hours a day with people all day, every day. Um, and I get energized by it. In fact, more time I spend alone in isolation, the less energy I have. Like I get energized by having quick conversations, brainstorming people. So number one, Bridger loves people. Number two, I have this pattern of being super laser focused and borderline obsessed on whatever I put my mind to. Like my friend Zach, for example, right? Rachel's boyfriend, right? She was just on the live stream here, and we were just suntanning up on the roof just literally 15 minutes ago. And he told me, I was like, yo, you mind if I grab the camera? We film a quick YouTube video, quick get some content on the roof. And he's like, yeah, no problem. He's like, bro, you have like laser focused obsession, and it's not rooted in monetary gain. I could not care less about acquiring material wealth. I could not care less. You might think that I care more based on some of the stuff, but what I care far more about is purpose. And purpose for me is what was I born to do? What was my unique God-given purpose? Why am I on this planet? They say that the two most impactful days of your life are the day you're born and the day you find out why.
day you're
And
born and day you find out why. I love it.
And so for me,
Love that.
I've just been on this journey, man, of just running through life balls to wall, man. Ever since I was a little kid, like, dude, I have the funniest video I could pull up and show you guys. It's literally me, like, I'm like 2.5 years old, okay? And I watched Spider-Man too many times, okay? And I'm like flip-flopping all over the ground, and I'm like just going nuts on the ground, just flip-flopping around. I'm like throwing my body, jumping off stuff, running around. I've always been a high energy, high octane guy that loved people. I've always been a natural born. You call me a leader, right? I can generate energy, generate emotion, and move towards a vision. My mom always, told me that Bridger's the type of guy, Bridger's the type of man that if there was a war going on, he would be the guy that's like, you see that hill, guys? We're gonna take that hill. Let's go, and I'd be the first one up that hill. Right, straight into the face of the enemy.
That's
So
Heck yeah.
that's who I am.
that's incredible. No, thank you for that. I think it goes to show that, discipline and focus clearly go a long way, and that's something that you've been able to showcase through your purpose,
Yes,
right?
that's right.
And
And
more than
so,
that, also obsession, because Bridget's so obsessed with like not only sales but like just being a high energy individual to begin with.
yeah,
So that does take someone really far as well.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. So for me, it's not about chasing the money, right? I was just there in my Bible study this morning. So I actually started a men's group, started a brotherhood, right? So I have a core principle that I live by. For those of you guys watching on the live stream or on the podcast, who is Bridger? I mean, my values are very simple. I've codified it into 5 different B's. Okay, number one is my belief. Okay, my belief in God, right? Jesus said, "Believe in me, and you shall have eternal life." So my belief is everything, right? They say even in personal development that if you do not believe that you can succeed, Henry Ford, who created Ford Automotive, said, "He who says he can and he who says he can't are both usually right." So belief's number one. I wake up in the morning, guys and gals, and I fill my belief cup, right? What does that look like? Prayer, right? Affirmations, right? Speaking affirmations, speaking life over myself. Bible says, Proverbs 19:21, that the power of life and death is held in the tongue. So I'm
Hmm.
speaking life, not death. How many people right now watching this podcast, watching this live stream, wake up in a state of fear? Fear of what might happen today, what could happen today, what probably isn't going to happen today. They say that 99% of the negative thoughts that we have never even come true.
That's true.
So why put all that energy into something that's never going to happen? Why not focus on praying, manifesting, aligning yourself with God's mission and purpose? So for me, belief's number one. It's like this glass of water right here, right? If you're running through life and you're freaking running half empty or quarter empty, dude, you have nothing excess to pour and give it to other people.
Hmm.
So for me, Jesus is where I get my cup filled. I'll plug into him. He's the true vine. And boom, I get filled up. And then I've got overflowing energy and joy and passion to be able to pour into other people and give. And then number two is my body. I like to move my body. I had a big workout today, guys. Ran into my
Nice.
pastor at the gym, which is super dope. Shout out to the man, PT. He's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Nice.
and so, body. I hit workouts. I eat healthy. I track my calories. I stay in great shape. Fitness is very important to me, right? We can go into that story later, but then it's business. It's time to get down to business, guys. Listen, most people watching this podcast think that they don't have a business, but they're actually just unaware that how they spend their time is their business. Your calendar, your Google Calendar is a business. How you run your time, how you run your life will determine the
It's a
money that you
business.
make.
Right.
Is a
Yeah.
business. It's a business. So I teach, guys how to think of themselves like a business. And guess what? The easiest business to start is the one that you don't have to start, is the one you get to join into as a remote sales rep. Remote sales is the easiest way to get to your first 6 figures. You're partnering with someone that has the other 10 components of business figured out. They say it takes
Right.
an average of about 10 skills to launch a successful 6-figure business.
Right.
10 skills: finance, operations, sales, marketing, hiring and recruiting, right? Client success, right? I could go on and on, right? Those are just 6 right off the top of my head. Technology, right? Payment processing, taxes, lawyer stuff, right? You don't
Hmm.
have to worry about any of that. All you need to do is find a business owner who has those things, who have a strong brand, and align yourself with what I call a P4 offer. I just did a live masterclass on this last night. Okay, I absolutely knocked the socks off of everyone that attended. I mean, we had people glued to their phones, glued to their screens, blowing up the chat for 2 hours straight, just dropping fire, dropping sauce, just like we're going right now. So P4 offer, what is it? Well, I'll tell you real quick, and then we can kind of keep moving. So purpose, passion, profit, and power. Okay, I have a whole masterclass on how to basically find P4 offers, how to really dissect that. It's a whole codified system, but you
Hmm.
gotta live a P4 life, right? When you live in P4, dude, you are in what's called freedom flow. Your life is
Freedom
flowing.
flow.
Too many entrepreneurs, too many business people, too many high performers, too many salespeople, too many people watching the students. You're living a life of friction and not flow. I don't know about you guys, but I'd rather flow my way to my goals than fight my way to my goals, right?
Hmm.
So I'm here to make a flow, dude. I'm here to surf my way to my goals, man. Why not just ride the wave, bro? Why not just
Ride
ride
the
the
wave.
wave to success? You know what I'm saying?
Ride
100%.
100%.
100.
Ride the ups and downs. And that's something I think we all can agree with, right? Right? Like you would want to like be in a state of flow rather than friction. And that's something that you emphasize heavily on. Just taking that a step back, actually, I had a question for you, Bridges, right? So when you realized that, your glass of purpose would be filled with Jesus and you knew that this was your calling, there are people our age who are still trying to figure that out. They're trying to figure out what they can pour into their glass and then kind of
Mhm.
grow from there. What advice would you have to the people that are in that current position, but with all the knowledge that you have right now?
So you're saying someone that glass is half empty?
Someone they don't know what to put in the glass yet. They don't know their purpose. What advice would you have
Yeah.
for people finding their purpose?
This is a great question, actually. Guys, if you're watching the live stream right now and you know what your purpose is, drop it in the chat. I saw my friend Vince Del Monte, who was on the podcast not long ago, just joined the live stream. I don't know if he's still here, but if you know what your purpose is in life, drop it. And I'm talking about your unique purpose. So first thing you should write down, Shrey, uh, and anybody listening, if you wanted to find your purpose, there's two purposes in life. There's what's called your universal purpose. That's why you were created as a human being. Everybody has the same universal purpose in my world, in my point of view, is to glorify God, right? And to worship God, is to connect with God, to be intimate and one with God. That's number one. That's your universal purpose. But underneath that is a unique purpose. Inside of that circle is a unique, specific purpose and assignment that God has for you. For example, let's look at David. David was worshiping God, is glorifying God, but how David served God was different than how Apostle Paul in the Bible served God. Both
Mhm.
were serving God, but in different ways, right?
Right.
King David slayed Goliath, right? He
Hmm.
led armies. He led armies to take out the Philistines, right?
Mhm.
Apostle Paul was spreading the gospel throughout Asia Minor, throughout Greece, right? Throughout
Mhm.
all the different regions of that area, Mesopotamia. And so don't compare your purpose to someone else's purpose.
Mhm.
Comparison is the thief of potential and joy, right?
Right.
So how you stop comparing yourself to other people is by shifting your focus onto your unique God-given purpose. What were
Mhm.
you specifically put on this earth to do? I believe that everybody has a unique God-given purpose that's divine and that you can find out if you pray and you listen to God.
Right.
So,
100%. And, going forward with that, right? Going forward with that right now. So those of you who are probably well aware right now, Bridger is a high ticket coach. He's taught, young people how to actually scale their lives up by making passive income, even like, full-time income or more than full-time income for most people. So you coach a lot of reps right now. So I'm curious, when people are about to join, or like what mindset shift do you see most beginners refuse to make, even when it's costing them money? Like on calls, when you see people like uncertain to buy a product or something, or buy
Yeah,
or invest in it themselves, what's that mindset shift you see
yeah.
they refuse to make?
The number one mindset shift that beginner sales reps make that stops them from making double, triple, or quadruple the amount of money is that they aren't sold themselves. They're trying to sell other people and they haven't even sold themselves. The first close that you make is yourself. Let me explain. Give me a minute here.
Mm-hmm.
Why is someone supposed to buy your product or service when you don't even believe in what you're selling? You have to, again, go back to the belief cup. You have to fill your belief cup every day as a salesperson, and you have to drink the Kool-Aid. You got to drink the Kool-Aid of what you're selling. You got to believe in it. You got to go look at the testimonials. You got to hear the testimonials. You got to feel the testimonials. You got to smell the testimonials. Like, you got to get all your senses involved and take your belief cup to 100%. And once you sell yourself, then you can start selling others.
Right. So closers aren't lucky, they're essentially built. Like you said that before, the closers aren't lucky, they're built.
Mhm.
So they're built by like, learning the ins and out of the offer, going all in on the offer, like you mentioned before, as well in your exclusive training in the Freedom Closer Academy. So I'm curious, right? Like you said before that most closers don't know actually how to, lead a call. What does leading a call like really how do you lead a call to begin with? Because there are like high ticket reps who are just calling for the sake of it, don't know what to do, when to do it, or how to do it. Like, what's the framework? What's the step by step process on how to close a deal? Like, how does Bridger Roger do it? There we
Yeah,
go.
great question. So if I was brand new to closing deals and I had to take my first call today and close it and I had to teach someone in less than 2 minutes, here's how I would do it. Step number one is I would sell myself on the offer. I would feel my conviction as high as possible. I'm getting testimonials, case studies. I'm understanding the ins and outs. I'm taking my belief cup to 100. Number two, I'm following the freedom closer formula. Let me break it down. Part one is going to be the rapport and the frame. I'm going to build rapport right off the bat by asking them where they're from, what they got going on. Rapport is an energy thing. It's about getting into a similar energy and really seeing people beyond just the words they're saying. There's what people say and then what people are really saying. Just because they say something it doesn't mean what they actually mean. There's an energy that you have to learn how to read people that's one layer deeper. So I'm reading people right at the beginning. I'm pulling them in. I'm asking them what made them decide to book the call, figure out if they're looky-loos, if they're going to waste my time, or if they're here to actually make a change. Number two, I'm setting the frame for the call. As a leader, you need to cast vision. Leaders cast vision because leaders take people on a journey. They take people somewhere. And people want to know where you're going to take them before you take them there.
Right.
So I set the frame. I cast the vision of what the call is going to be about. Then I get straight into the discovery. Guys, listen, if you want to create a closed cake, the best closed cake you've ever tasted, if you want to take every bite of your next commission check and enjoy it, right? Just like this $30,000 check I got just chilling on my desk. Right?
Let's
I got
go.
Impressive. That's impressive.
so
There you go.
so that
Yeah.
$30,000 check was cooked up using the closed cake formula. Let me break it down. The first ingredient
cake.
is the gap. The gap is where someone is right now, the current pain, where they want to go, and what's stopping them from getting there. That's the gap. Number two is finances. If they have no money, it's like not having yeast in your cake. Dude, that thing's going to be flat. It's going to taste like crap, and you're not going to want to eat it. No one's going to buy if they don't have the money to buy. They need to have the capacity to buy. Number three, I want decision makers on the call. All the decision makers need to be there because I want to, at the end of the call, right? Amateur salespeople give information and get callbacks. World-class salespeople get decisions at the end of a call. Yes or no, right? That's what I'm looking for as a salesperson. So I'm looking at decision makers. Number four, I'm looking for timing and urgency. Why now did they decide to book the call? What were they hoping to get out of today's call, right? Why do they want to make a change now? How long has this been going on? If it doesn't change, what's the impact of staying in their current situation? What's the price of inaction? There's always a price you pay for inaction. Just like if you went to the doctor and you had a cut and you decided not to get the stitches, that thing could get infected and you have to cut off your whole finger. That's the price of inaction. You want to find what wounds, if left undone, will create more pain and suffering and cost later down the road. And then lastly, number five is trust. I need people to trust me. I have to have people to trust me on the call. And there's 4 tenets of trust. They trust in the company. They trust in you. They trust in the specific industry or method. So like remote sales, they got to believe 10 out of 10 in remote sales. And they got to believe that my Freedom Closer certification is the best way to learn remote sales. So I want to take them to 10 out of 10 on the 4 tenets. So that right there is the third component, which is the discovery. The fourth component is the transition and pitch. Transitioning from the discovery to smoothly going into the pitch, asking permission to pitch, and then pitching and creating a simultaneous explanation of an airtight emotional logical case. Emotional logical case, right? If you think about that, their emotions have to be bought in and their mind has to be bought in. There has to be a mind-heart connection between what they hear, what they see, and what they feel. The feel is the emotions. What they see and hear is the logic. So I want an airtight emotional logical case, and how you do that is by creating a simultaneous explanation when you pitch of why everything they've tried in the past has failed and why this will be different. Directly quoting Cole Gordon, okay, one of my friends, one of my mentors. So shout out to him. That's what he says the pitch is. The last and final ingredient is objection handling and next steps. This is actually asking for the sale. This is handling the objections that come after that and then onboarding them and making sure that the sale doesn't fall through. So I'm not sure if that was 2 minutes, but in around 2 minutes, that's exactly how I would close the deal, step by step.
That's a freaking
That's
masterclass, bro.
great.
Those of you
Yeah,
guys watching right now, you guys got literally a free masterclass on how to literally close a deal and collect cash
It's true.
and potentially get it paid in full as well. But there's of course more to it than that. So, Bridger, you've worked with some of the biggest names like John Madsen, Cole Gordon, Brian from AdSpend, and of course the one that really stood out to me is Kinobody. So, Kinobody, Bridger is also known as a Kino clone. For those of you who don't know, so how did that connection even come about in the first place? And once you were in, like, how did he get about scaling his entire sales team and system to match the brand vision he had?
Yeah, great question. So how did I meet Greg Gallagher? Is that the question?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
and how did he
how
scale
I
it up?
yeah. So how I met Greg Gallagher was through a video on Ty Lopez's YouTube channel. Okay, that's how it originally started. I'm on Ty Lopez's YouTube channel. He hits me with some ads while here in my garage while I'm playing guitar. I click on it, I follow him, and as I'm following him, all of a sudden, this young, handsome, good-looking, good energy, funny guy that's absolutely jacked, that's getting all the chicks and driving super cool cars and living this life at 24 years old, which is my age now. A decade ago, he was 24. His name's Greg Gallagher, Kinobody. And I saw that Ty did a video with him. He's starting to blow up. He had his first video go viral in 2015, the real Bruce Wayne of fitness. And I started following him. I'm like, dude, this guy says stuff that's different. It hits different, right? He was hitting the market with something new. Intermittent fasting was something bodybuilders refuse to believe in, right? They're like 6 meals a day, Tupperware, chicken, rice, and broccoli, 6 workouts a week. He's like, dude, you need 2-3 workouts a week, intermittent fasting. So his message just hit. He's like, don't do roids, don't do bodybuilder stuff, don't get super bloated, don't get super big, don't do bench press, don't do squats. He's like, do the opposite. So it was the counterintuitive way to get into what he calls movie star shape, Hollywood shape, like a superhero. And so I found this guy, fell in love with what he taught, and started following his program. And then I transformed, and as I started to transform within 60 days, I'm like, dude, I got to share this journey, man. Like, I got to inspire people. Because I had Lyme disease for 18 months, right? I was bedridden,
Wow.
super sick, wanted to die. Literally, I remember one night I was just crying, dude. I'm laying on my side, and my arms were the size of my wrists. So you can see now I've got
Yeah.
some nice
You
guns.
got some freaking
Some
guns.
definition. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
But now, but dude,
definitely.
look at the size of my wrist. That's how big my biceps were.
Oh wow.
Like, you can see there's a massive difference now. My arms are like 3 times the size of my wrists. So I'm laying there. I'm in pain, dude. I hate my life. I'm bedridden, no friends. I'm like, why am I even existing? Like, I'm just a burden to my family, draining all this money. I'm like crying. My mom comes into the room. She's trying to comfort me. I'm like, Mom, and this I might have to censor this part out. Let me mute my mic real quick. I'm like, Mom, get the gun and shoot me.
Wow.
I'm
No way
like,
you said that.
I'm serious. I said, Mom, listen, I'm not worthy of living. Like, I'm a burden to the family. Like, I hate my life. Like, get the gun and shoot me. I don't want to live here anymore. I don't want to be alive. I was borderline suicidal. I wouldn't have killed myself because I cared too much about my family. My family loved me. By the way, guys, suicide's selfish. Okay,
It is.
suicide is
Mm-hmm.
selfish, right? If you're feeling suicidal, focus on the other people around you. And the only reason people I've heard start to get suicidal is they think that they're doing the world a favor by ending their life. I promise you, nobody sees yourself that way. That's the enemy. The enemy, the devil. The enemy, the devil, walks around like a roaring lion, seeking to devour whom he can, whoever he can. The enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. That's what he wants to do in your mind. Steal your life, kill your joy, and destroy your hope. And that's what he almost did to me. But luckily, I had parents that prayed for me, that fought for me. And when I bounced back, I was like, man, I'm going all in on Kinobody. I'm going all in on building this physique. And so, July, you know, I wanted to document this journey to inspire people. And so on July 4th, 2017, I started my Instagram with the intention to inspire and empower as many people as possible to transform and become the superhero of their own life. That was my mission statement, my purpose statement. Started reading books, and I built my purpose statement. I'm going to inspire and empower as many people as possible to transform their bodies and their lives and become the superhero of their own life. What does it mean to be the superhero of your own life? Guys, what's your favorite superhero movie? Leave it in the comments below on the podcast or live stream right now. But for me, Batman, Superman, Iron Man, take your pick, Captain America. Superheroes are the main character in the story in their life. Too many people watching this podcast right now, Sid, are letting society, letting bullies, letting the people around them put shackles on their potential, put
Right.
shackles on their identity. They're letting these people shackle them up when they hold the keys to setting themselves free the whole time. And so I'm on a mission to enlighten, empower, equip, and help 1 million people set themselves free mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially. And too many people are shackled by the expectations of others. And that's what too many people watching this are doing right now. They're letting these shackles hold them back from being the superhero. Right now, they're the slave instead of the superhero, right? My
Right.
mission, my purpose is to help people go from slave to superhero, right? Where you get to, anytime a main character hits rock bottom, he gets to write the next chapter. He flips the page and he says, now it's time to bounce back. Now it's time to take my setback and turn it into my comeback, as my coach
Heck yeah.
Tim Story would say. So,
Nice.
so yeah, man, that's how I met Kino, bro. It's a long story, but it's a long story. I mean, it was hard work,
And
persistence. I documented my journey on Instagram. As I was sharing my journey, I started tagging him. I started enrolling people in the program for free. If you're watching this, you want to get a mentor, find a way to find out what your mentor values in life and get them more of what they value. If they value humor, make them laugh. If they value encouragement, encourage them. If they value money, get them money. If they value followers, get them followers. Whatever it is, get them more of that, and you'll get their attention. Value creates attention in a person's mind, heart, and emotions. Value creates attention. That's why a
No,
high value man gets attention in the dating marketplace. Guy who's jacked, makes money, he's a protector, he's a provider, he's a total badass. So
that's
yeah.
fair. Yeah,
so yeah,
yeah.
so to kind of land the plane, I started documenting my journey. I added value, and then eventually, he saw my transformation. I had provided value by documenting and signing people up. And he's like, bro, he finally saw my transformation because I commented on one of his posts that just came out. And I said, hey, bro, he was doing a promotion for the Greek God program. And I was
No
a
way.
natural born salesperson. I commented, I said, hey, guys, the Greek God program changed my life. I went from 125 pounds to 145. I'm absolutely jacked, changed my life. You have to get this, best investment you'll ever make. He sees the comment, clicks on my profile. By the way, guys, your social media is your personal brand. Your personal brand is the mark and impression you leave on someone. Guys, let's go back to the original native word brand. Back in the day, the Westerns, 1800s, right? They had cattle. Cattle was property you owned. How you could tell the difference between, let's say, Sid's cattle and my cattle was a brand. It was a thing they would literally heat up and they would imprint someone with. Your brand is how you leave people when they're done with you, their experience with you. And so when he went to my page, he got a certain impression, certain brand that made him decide to want to connect with me. And he reposted my transformation. When he did that, I went from 100 followers to 300 followers. And those 100 followers were like just my natural people, just my friends. 100 to 300 followers. I got hundreds of people hitting me up. And then I asked him, I had to interview this guy for my senior project in high school. Okay, it was actually an entrepreneurship class that I was taking in North Idaho College, dual enrolled. I had to interview an entrepreneur 2 or more years in business that had at least 2 or more employees. And he did. So I interviewed him, I DM'd him, and at first, to be honest with you, I didn't believe in myself. My belief cup, I'd never done anything. I said, Mom, why would Greg let me interview him? Like, I'm just some random kid. But she believed in me. Everybody has someone watching this right now that's been their biggest supporter. Maybe believed in them even more than you've believed in yourself at times. And you need to keep
100%.
that person close because they'll keep you going when you doubt yourself. And so my mom's like, shoot him a DM. She said, you're already at a no. That was the first lesson I learned in sales. You're already at a no. She's like, he's already said no because you haven't asked him. What's the worst that could possibly happen? What's the worst that could possibly happen is the most powerful way to overcome fear in your life. Think about it. You want to approach that hot chick that's walking down the street at the gym? What's the worst that could possibly happen if you approached her? She slaps you across the place, throws a
Ew.
drink, pulls out her phone and calls 911. You just run away. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? None of that has ever happened to me, by the way. I've approached hundreds of women. I might have approached 1,000 chicks at this point. I don't know. I've talked to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of chicks, and I've never had an experience like that. They've
Right.
all been courteous, kind. Some of them have been rude. They're like, they kind of just brush it off. But I've never had anything crazy like that. So what's the worst that could possibly happen is the easiest way to overcome fear and take action.
100%. And I've
Thank
got a
you.
two-part question regarding that, right? So you were in Kinobody. So once you were in, how did you go about scaling his sales team and like his system to match the brand? Because you did a phenomenal job with that. Like, dude, like I was a client at the time, dude, and I got close, okay? I had like $200 at the time.
Oh,
So
wow.
you guys just took all
Incredible.
my $200 with
Who closed you?
um Robert King, Connor King Robert, someone like that.
He was the setter.
Robert, yeah,
Ki-
one of the two.
Yeah, I know Connor. Yeah. Okay. Connor was
And
the setter. Who was the closer?
he's a coach as well. Ryan
Yeah,
Ryan
Ryan.
Meng.
Ryan. I don't. Was it Ryan Main? He wasn't even
Ye-
closing at the time. Or
I believe he
Ryan.
closed me. Yeah,
He closed you, Ryan Main, huh? Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Awesome. So what was your question again?
Yeah. So how did he go about scaling his entire sales team and system to match the brand?
Yeah. So how I scaled Kinobody's coaching program to $3.3 million in less than 12 months
shit.
without ever building a sales team before was through belief. Again, it comes down to belief. You have to believe in yourself and the product and the program. Your ability to step into situations that you're totally unprepared for, that you've never done before, will determine the level of success you'll achieve. That's what my mentor, Ed Milet, says. Okay, and so I was totally ill-prepared. I'd only closed deals before. I'd closed a couple $1,000,000 in high ticket. I'd never trained anybody before besides just mentoring people internally at the company. I'd never built a real seven-figure business before. But you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yep.
And so
Yep.
I took the shot, I built the brand, I built the business, and there's two things that I did that allowed me to do that. Number one is I got over myself, got over my own fear, and I focused on serving people. The easiest way to overcome fear is to shift the focus from you to others. That's the key to public speaking. If you focus on serving the audience and adding value to the audience, then all of your fear dissipates. Same thing with approaching chicks, by the way. If you focus on adding value to the chick, making her feel seen, making her feel valued, dude, women thrive off of attention. If you just give a woman a compliment, energy, like women thrive off of that. They want to be seen, they want to be heard, they want to be valued. And so that'll get rid of that pressure. And then the second thing that I did is I hired a mentor. You got to hire mentors, guys. You got to pay for mentors. They're not going to mentor you for free, guys. I have not had a free mentor that I didn't add some sort of value to. Even though it might be free monetarily, I've bled, I've sweat and I've cried for mentors, right? I've poured blood, sweat, and tears into acquiring mentors, okay? Through sacrifice, right? I've sacrificed all sorts of things to be able to get access to great mentors. And so, guys, I hit up one of the guys that I knew that was the best in the space. His name's Cole Gordon and Mitchell Miles. Mitchell was the CEO of Cole Gordon's Closers.io, and I stroked him a check. Guys, some of you guys might literally crap your pants when I told you how much money we wrote this guy a check for. It was $68,000.
Wow.
We
Wow.
stroked him a check for 68 grand, and in 12 months, I turned that into 3.3 million. Drop it down below if those are good odds for you. I don't know what the odds are. I mean, that's over 30x. That's about
That's big.
30x.
That's
Right?
big.
Very big.
No, thank you so much for sharing that. And so I want to get back to the mentoring part, right? What advice would you give to someone who is in our current position around our age? They're trying to figure out how to break into different fields or the sales field as well, but they don't know which mentor to trust. How do you know you're picking the right mentor, and then how do you know that you can stick with them long term?
That's a
Three
good
things.
question.
Three things when you're looking for a mentor: values, vision, and mission. Let me break it down. Values. Do the core values that they live their life by, meaning the results. A value is a result in a person's life. It's not what they say they live their life by, it's the fruit that they have in their life. Jesus said, you will know them by their fruit. He said, does a fig tree bear, fruit, bad fruit? It's like, no, a good tree does not bear bad fruit, and a bad tree does not bear good fruit. So you'll know them by their fruit. So I look at the values they've created in their life, the things they value, how they spend their time, what they do with their actions and not their lips. That's number one. Have they created the results that you want in your life? That's number one. Number two, to what level have they helped other people achieve these results? Some mentors are good at doing it themselves, but they suck at teaching it. There's plenty of people out there that can create the results themselves, but they don't have the gift of exhortation communicating, influencing, and coaching. I've got both. I can learn and I can coach it and I can do it. I have the skill of communicating, teaching, influencing. I can learn something and teach it to someone super quick. Those are two separate skills. So that's the first level is values. Have they done it? Have they taught other people how to do it? And have they done it ethically in alignment with your values, your core values that you want to live by, right? Without cutting corners, right? And then number two is vision. Are they going somewhere that you want to go one day? Because if they're headed in a totally different direction, the Bible says do not be unequally yoked, both in business and in your relationships. So are they heading the same direction? Because when you yoke up with a mentor, that you're basically yoking with a mentor, right? If you go back to the oxens, two oxens would put a yoke together so that if one fell down, the other one could keep going, kind of help it up, and they would pull together. So you got to be careful who you yoke yourself to when it comes to mentorship, because they'll take you wherever they're going. And if they're headed in a totally wrong direction, opposite direction to you, then you're going to wake up one day and be like, dude, what the heck did I just do with my life?
And what's the third thing? We
And
got
the third
like
and
value and
final,
mission.
yeah, the third and final ingredient to picking a great mentor is the mission that they live on with their life. Vision's where you're going. Mission is why you're going there. Is their backstory? Is the things that they want to accomplish in their life aligned with where you want to go?
Right.
That's fair. No, thank you so
100%. I
much
love
for that,
that.
right? I love
I love
that.
that.
And I think it's really crucial for people in our position to kind of know who the right mentor is to pick and like how do we go about doing that? Because that can get confusing given how social media is growing. Everyone has, an offer these days. Everyone's trying to mentor people, but a lot of people just truly aren't qualified. And I think your three-step process really helps set apart the people that, we should be looking out for as mentors versus the ones that we shouldn't. So thank you for that, Bridges.
No,
And so
100%. So,
I have to ask you, right? What's been the biggest challenge for you, Bridger, transitioning from an amazing closer, like the best closer, to now the best mentor in the sales game?
Can you say that one more time?
My question to you is, what has been your biggest challenge going from an elite closer to now one of the best mentors to an elite mentor in the sales game?
I think the biggest challenge from going from a closer to a coach and a mentor is shifting the focus and the dopamine hits from winning yourself and being really, really selfish in your activity to being really, really selfless. That's the biggest difference. As a closer, I'm asking myself, what do I need to do to execute and kill it and get those dopamine hits, make those deals closed, which is still selfless because you're helping the other people, but you're focused on what you need to do. And as a world-class coach and mentor, you have to be very, very selfless. You have to put yourself in your students' shoes, and you have to ask yourself, what are they going through? What are they struggling with? What can I do to encourage them? How can I put myself in their shoes? And knowing what I know now, give them instructions and courage and inspiration and training and coaching to get them to move where they need to go and bridge the gap.
right. No, 100%. And you've done a great job with that. Like, well, case study me. So you saw
True,
how I was
very true.
when I joined the program to where I'm at right now. So guys, I can 100% speak from experience. If you guys are sleeping on Bridger, wait, pause. That didn't come out correct, but you guys know what I mean. All right. If you guys are thinking about joining the Freedom Close Academy, I highly recommend it. I highly do recommend it because it's changed my life from, well, let's just say 0 to 9K in 1 year. It didn't happen overnight. It's not a get rich quick scheme. This is a skill set you're investing into. It cannot be taxed. This is a skill set for life. Okay, it's not gonna happen overnight, but you will get there. So I can 100% really persuade you guys to joining this program. And I believe this leads me on to my next question. To show you are the freaking Jedi Master out here, if everything got stripped away from you tomorrow, no leads, no name, no clients, how would you rebuild to this 30K month every day? Yeah.
What a great what a great question. So, uh, if I was stripped of all my connections, all of my current clients, all of the current opportunities and connections I have, and I was a nobody back in North Idaho with really no experience other than what I know now,
Hmm.
the first step that I would do is I would brand myself on social media. I would create an Instagram, and I would create, 9, 10, 12 pieces of content showcasing my expertise, showcasing my core values. I would actually build a brand so that people could click on my Instagram and know who I am. And that's going to put me a leg up in applying and reaching out to influencers. Step number 2, I'm going to write down P4 aligned offers, and I'm going to search for 100 offers. I'm going to find 100 high ticket influencers and business owners. I'm putting them all in a spreadsheet. I'm using ChatGPT to get as much information as possible. I'm going to custom ChatGPT an opening prompt that's unique, that's relevant to the current times and things they're going through. It's going to be a very, very simple, direct ask on high ticket positions. And it's going to be asked with, would you be opposed to considering hiring me even if you're full? Because I promise you I'll become the best hire you've ever made. I'm gonna make big claims. I'm gonna make bold, big claims, and and then step number 3, I'm gonna get on and I'm gonna sell myself. I'm gonna sell people that, hey, listen, you don't want to bet against me, right? I'm gonna sell who I am. You can look into my eyes and know that I'm gonna be your next best high ticket closer, right? The
Yeah.
iconic. So if you guys joined my Freedom Closer certification, bit of an inside joke, but there's this 2-minute welcome video I made 4 years ago that I sent to my original boss that actually hired me now. He's my client now, right? Now I'm building his sales team. I'm building the sales team for my old boss and mentor, which is super cool. He's asking me for all the advice now, which is crazy.
Okay.
So um, I would get on and I would sell myself, right? And then number 4, I would get on and I would outwork everybody. I would get every client testimonial. I would get every script. I would hit up the top closer on that offer, and I would ask them what they're doing. I'd ask to meet with them one-on-one. I'd buy them a freaking coffee, buy them a steak dinner. I would just treat them. I would become best friends with the top performers. There's no truer statement than show me your friends, I'll show you your future. Who you hang out with will determine who you become. And so I would invest in good people as soon as I got there. I would become the hardest freaking worker. I would sacrifice everything. I'd go balls to the wall for the next 45 days to ramp up. For sure, 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks of any offer are the most important 2 weeks by far.
The
Because
ramp
the
up.
first two, yeah, the ramp up. The first 2 weeks of any offer you join, you're in the red zone. You're either going to make it or you're going to get fired. And the number one thing you can do to separate yourself, even if you don't get the results, is outwork everybody. Show up on time, show up early, outwork everybody, get there the first, and leave the latest. And then what I would do is I would just stay focused, stay diligent. I would create a financial plan, a budget. I would set aside 10% for long-term, never touch ever. I would invest 20% in investing in my skill set. I'd live off of 40%, tied the other 10%.
Heck yeah.
That's fair. No, thank you so much for that. And I think it is true when they say you are the sum of your 5 closest friends. That does determine quite a lot of where your future is going to lead, right? Thank you so much for that, Bridger. And this is my last question to you for the podcast. And you've done an amazing job. Thank you so much for coming. But my last question to you is, what advice would you have for someone in their late teens, early 20s, just breaking into the online internet money game? What advice would you have? Just a quick
Or
1, 2 sentences.
or just following their dreams in general. Like, what advice do you have for someone who wants to follow their dreams? What do you reckon?
If I could go back to my 20-year-old self and give them this 60-second conversation, I think it would change everything. Step 1, bro, dump that chick. Dump that chick. She is not going to get you to the promised land. She is not your queen, and you haven't become the king yet. Number 2, go find a mentor who aligns with your values and ethics. Don't sell yourself short with mentors who have created the financial success but don't have the character success. Find a mentor that has the character and the financial success. And then number 3 is stop drinking alcohol and never touch drugs ever. Stop drinking alcohol, go completely sober, and don't party. Don't party. It's a waste of time. There's nothing there. And then number 4 is hire a coach, hire a mentor to become sexually disciplined. Go celibate, become sexually disciplined, stop dating, bet on yourself, go 3 years, zero dating, and I promise you, you're going to look up and be a totally different version of yourself and probably have your princess waiting for you.
I love it. I love it. I love
Love
it.
to hear it.
And
Thank
ladies
you.
and gentlemen, that is it for today's podcast episode. If you guys want to book a call with Bridger, his link will be down in the description below. And yeah, we're going to be aligning your P4 values, like we spoke in the podcast, to a company that also has the same P4 value. So, ladies and
Yeah, we
gentlemen, I
will.
highly recommend you check out the Freedom Closer Academy and Bridger Rodgers. You can send him a DM. You can, check the link out on his Instagram bio, and make sure to subscribe to him also on YouTube.
Yep, you can find me on YouTube, Bridger Rodgers, Rogers. Bridger, just how you'd think. Bridger with an R at the end. Bridger_Rodgers on Instagram. You can find me on TikTok as well. And I just recorded a live 2-hour masterclass breaking down everything we talked about even more in depth, how to find P4 offers, literally sharing my screen, actually walking people through step by step. If it's all right with Sid, I'd like to actually give them that recording as a gift, and all they need to do is go to my Instagram and
Absolutely.
just DM me the word masterclass. Just DM me masterclass on Instagram, and I'll send it right over to you. Bridger_Rodgers. Thanks, Sid.
Absolutely. Link will be in the description
100%.
down below as well, so you guys can go directly and check it out there. And thank you, Bridget, for hopping on the podcast. This is a fire masterclass episode, and now people have the correct path to know exactly what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, guys. No excuses now, dude. Come on. Come
100%.
on.
100%. Thank you so much for this, Bridger. Always appreciate your time.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
All
guys.
right,
Yeah.
You
guys.
guys have been awesome
Cheers.
hosts, and hopefully we get to do this again sometime. It's a lot of fun.
100%.
100%.
There'll definitely be a part two. Looking forward to it.
Cheers, guys. Thank you for watching.
Cheers.
Bye.
Take care. Bye for now.